In 2008, my father lost 60% of his 30-year savings in 6 months. He called me crying, "I don't understand what happened. I did everything right. He didn't do anything wrong. He just didn't know how the machine works." 10 million people lost their homes in 2008. But some billionaires doubled their money in that same period. The difference? They understood the pattern. In 15 minutes, you're going to understand economics better than 90% of people. Not with boring theory. With the real mechanics. Like it's a washing machine. Simple, predictable, repetitive. The economy has only 3 levers. Just 3. When you understand them, you'll see crises coming before everyone else. I started studying this after my father lost everything. I discovered a template that predicted 2008, 1929, 1989. I'm not an economist. I'm someone who wanted to protect the people I love. Why does economics seem impossible? Because economists disagree with each other. Newspapers use 500 technical terms. It seems like chaos, but it's not. Economics is a machine. Like the washing machine in your house. You put in dirty clothes, which is work. You add soap, which is credit. It spins doing transactions. And clean clothes come out, which is growth. But if you put in too much soap, the machine breaks. And that's exactly what happens every 75 years. I'm going to explain the 3 levers of the machine. You'll see how your daily life is connected to global cycles. At the end, you'll know what to do with this knowledge. You'll never again feel powerless watching economic news. It'll be like watching a movie for the second time. You already know the plot twist. Imagine you buy bread every day. You give $5, you receive the bread. That's a transaction. The entire economy is just that. Billions of bakeries, billions of exchanges. That's it. Nothing more. A transaction is exchanging money or credit for something. A market is everyone buying and selling the same thing. And the economy is the sum of all markets. When I was a kid, my grandmother would give me $2 to buy ice cream. I spent $2, the ice cream man earned $2. Years later I realized, I was the economy for that ice cream man. My spending was his income. Seems obvious, but this simple idea explains everything. Your spending is someone else's income. Someone else's income is their spending. It's a circle, not a straight line. Why does this matter? Because when you stop spending out of fear, someone loses income. When many people stop spending at the same time, recession comes. It's not about morality like, saving is good. It's pure mechanics. Look at the real example, 2020 pandemic. Restaurants close. You don't spend. Waiter loses income. Waiter doesn't buy clothes. Clothing store closes. Salesperson loses income. He doesn't buy bread. Bakery closes. The machine locks up. That's why government gave emergency aid, to keep the machine turning. Now comes the secret of the machine. Credit. You earn $5,000 a month. But your credit card limit is $10,000. This month you can spend $15,000. You created $10,000 out of nothing. That's the secret. Credit is money from the future brought to the present. Credit is a promise to pay later. Debt is credit seen from the other side. And credit is much bigger than money. In the United States, it's $50 trillion in credit versus only $3 trillion in actual money. My first credit card, 18 years old. $500 limit. I bought a $400 TV on installments. I didn't have the money, but I promised to pay. The bank believed me. They created $400 out of nothing based on my promise. That's magic and also the problem. Credit makes you spend more than you produce in the short term, and that's good. But then you have to pay it back, spending less than you produce, and that's bad. It's always a cycle, rise and fall. Credit is the climb on the roller coaster. You're going fast, it's exciting. But physics doesn't change. What goes up comes down. And the descent is proportional to the climb. Small climb? Gentle descent. Giant climb? Scary descent. My neighbor bought a house in 2006 in the United States. The bank lent 100% of the value, no down payment. He earned little but got credit. What? Because everyone was getting it? Credit was too easy. The climb was too high. In 2008 came the descent. He lost the house. There's good credit and bad credit. Good credit is buying a tractor to produce more because it pays for itself. Bad credit is buying a giant TV because it generates no income. Most people use credit to consume, not to produce. Now imagine a graph. A line in the middle represents the normal growth of the economy, which is productivity. But you see waves above and below. 2 waves. One small, 5 to 8 years. One giant, 75 to 100 years. These are the debt cycles. The first lever is productivity. It's the middle line. Think about the farmer in 1800, Plants by hand harvests 100 kilos of rice per year. Farmer in 2000 uses a tractor harvests 10,000 kilos. That's productivity. Learning, inventing, working smarter. It's real growth. Slow but solid. Productivity grows 2 or 3% per year. It never decreases because knowledge accumulates. It's the foundation of everything. My grandfather was a blacksmith. Made 10 horseshoes a day. My cousin is a programmer. Writes code that automates 10,000 tasks. Productivity is that, doing more with less. It's the only sustainable growth. The second lever is the short-term debt cycle. It lasts 5 to 8 years. The economy breathes. Inhale, easy credit, growth, inflation. Exhale, restricted credit, recession, deflation. Inhale. Exhale. Every 5 to 8 years, a complete cycle. It works like this. Phase 1, cheap credit, people spend more, inflation comes. Phase 2, the central bank raises interest rates, there's less credit available, recession comes. Phase 3, the central bank lowers interest rates again and it goes back to the beginning. Brazil, 2015. Interest rates rose to 14%. My mother wanted to change cars. Financing became too expensive. She didn't buy. The dealership fired salespeople. The salespeople spent less. Stores went bankrupt. Recession. It wasn't the government's fault or lack of confidence. It was the machine exhaling. The third lever is the long-term debt cycle. It lasts 75 to 100 years. Imagine a dam. Every year more water comes in, which is accumulated debt. For 50 years the water rises slowly. Seems controllable. Until one day the dam is full. One more drop and it bursts. 2008 was the burst. For decades, debt grows faster than income. People don't notice because they focus on the short term. Until it reaches a point where it's impossible to pay. The result is what they call deleveraging, which is the big crisis. The 2008 crisis wasn't just subprime in isolation. It was the peak of 80 years of debt accumulation. The same thing happened in 1929 in the United States, in 1989 in Japan, and in 2008 worldwide. When everything collapses, we call it deleveraging. It's like building a house of cards. Each card is a debt. For years you add cards because credit is easy. Seems stable. Until you place one more card and everything collapses in seconds. Deleveraging is that, the collapse. I'll tell you what happens step by step. Step 1. Debts become too big. People owe 10 times their annual income. Monthly payments become larger than income. Step 2. People stop spending. They try to pay debts, doing austerity. They spend less. Step 3. Other people's income falls. Because your spending is someone's income. Less spending means less income. Step 4. Defaults begin. Without income, no one can pay debt. Banks lose money. Step 5. Banks restrict credit. No one can get loans anymore. The machine completely locks up. My father, 2008. He had a small business. The bank suddenly cut his credit line. He couldn't pay suppliers. He fired 5 employees. Those 5 stopped spending. Their families suffered. It wasn't my father's fault. It was the machine locking up. It's like dominoes. The first piece falls, which is a bank failing. The second piece falls, which is another bank. Third, fourth, fifth, you can't stop it. That's why government intervenes. They remove a piece from the middle to break the sequence. But why doesn't lowering interest rates work? In a normal recession you lower rates, credit comes back and done. But in a deleveraging, rates are already at 0%. There's nowhere left to lower. It's like accelerating a car without gasoline. United States, 2008. Interest rates fell to 0. Even so, no one was taking loans. Why? Because people were drowning in debt. They didn't want more. They were afraid. And banks were also afraid to lend. Confidence disappeared. When the machine breaks, there are 4 tools to fix it. But each one hurts in a different way. It's like choosing how to remove a band-aid, quick and painful or slow and prolonged. The first tool is cutting spending. Austerity. Your family is in debt. You cut internet, cable TV, outings. You save. Makes sense, right? But if everyone does this at the same time, no one spends. Companies fail. Unemployment increases. Everything gets worse. For an individual, it makes sense. For the entire economy, it's a disaster. Income falls faster than debt decreases. Greece, 2010. The government cut salaries, pensions, public jobs. The idea was to pay the debt. The result? Unemployment went to 27%. The economy shrank 25%. And debt increased as a percentage of the economy. Austerity is a trap. The second tool is default or debt restructuring. You owe $100,000 on your card. You can't pay. You negotiate, I'll pay 50,000 and you forgive the rest. The bank accepts because 50,000 is better than nothing. You get relief but your credit is destroyed for years. The debt disappears and that's good. But assets also disappear because the bank loses money. Banks fail, savings disappear. My aunt had $50,000 invested in a bank in Argentina in 2001. The government declared default. She lost everything. It wasn't her choice. It was the machine breaking. She was 60 years old. She never recovered. The third tool is redistributing wealth through taxes. Imagine 10 people on an island. One person has 90% of the food. The other 9 are starving. The government taxes the rich person and distributes the food. The rich person gets angry. The poor survive. Social tension explodes. The government raises taxes on the rich and uses the money to give benefits to the unemployed. It's rich against poor. Tension rises. 1930s, United States. Roosevelt created 90% taxes for the super rich. The rich called it communism. But without it, there would have been a revolution. It's not about right or wrong. It's about the machine not exploding socially. The fourth tool is printing money. Imagine you're the central bank. You have a money printer in the basement. The economy is broken, no one has money. You turn on the printer. You create $1 trillion. You buy government bonds, stocks, everything. Prices rise. People feel rich again. The machine starts turning again. It's the only way to create new money. It compensates for the credit that disappeared. The risk is inflation if you overdo it. 2008, United States printed $2 trillion. Brazil printed 2. I remember, everyone said, it's going to cause hyperinflation like Venezuela. It didn't. Why? Because credit had disappeared. Printing money filled the hole. It was like putting water in a pool that had leaked. The key point is you need all 4 tools at the same time. Balance the pain of austerity and defaults with the relief of printing money. If you do it right, we call it beautiful deleveraging. If you get it wrong, comes depression or hyperinflation. Beautiful deleveraging is the perfect solution. You're sick. The doctor gives 4 medicines. Just one doesn't solve it. Wrong dose? You die. But the right combination, right dose, right timing? You heal. Beautiful deleveraging is that, the perfect prescription. How does it work? You print enough money for income to grow faster than the interest on debt. But not so much that it causes inflation. For example, debt grows 2% per year because of interest, but income grows 3% per year because of money printing. In 10 years, debt becomes smaller relative to income. My father lost everything in 2008. But he was a mechanic, skilled. In 2010 he started teaching classes online, increasing his productivity. He renegotiated debts, doing restructuring. The government gave unemployment insurance, redistributing. Interest rates stayed low, which is the money printing. In 2015 he was okay. Not rich but stable. It was a personal beautiful deleveraging. Look at the historical examples. United States 1930s, took time but it worked. Japan 1989, did it wrong and the lost decade became 3 decades. United States and Europe 2008, did it halfway right and recovered in 10 years. The point is, it's not fast. Takes over 10 years. Requires coordination between government and central bank. But it works if done right. And now, what do you do with this information? To protect your money there are 3 rules. Rule 1. Don't let your debt grow faster than your income. If your salary rises 5% per year, your debt can't grow 10% per year. Seems obvious but most people ignore it. Rule 2. Use credit to produce, not to consume. Loan to take a course that increases your salary? Good. Loan for a trip? Bad unless you have money left over. Rule 3. Understand what phase of the cycle you're in. Easy credit plus everyone optimistic means you're at the top. Be careful. Restricted credit plus everyone pessimistic means you're at the bottom. Opportunity. 2020 pandemic. Everyone in panic. I remembered, the machine broke, government will print money. I bought cheap stocks. In 2021 they doubled in value. I'm not a genius. I just understood the machine. To be a better citizen, hold politicians accountable. Demand balance in the 4 tools. Don't accept either total austerity or infinite money printing. Understand that cycles are normal. There's not always a villain. The final mindset is this: you don't control the machine. But if you understand it, you can surf the waves instead of drowning. My father didn't lose everything because he was stupid. He lost because he didn't understand the machine. Now you understand. And that changes everything. The 3 simple truths are these. First, economy is repeated transactions. Your spending is someone's income. Second, credit creates cycles. What goes up comes down. Third, there are 3 levers: productivity, which is slow. Short cycle, 5 to 8 years. Long cycle, 75 to 100 years. The final message is this: next time you see a crisis in the news, you won't panic. You'll think, the machine is in phase X of cycle Y. And that, my friend, is power. If you made it this far, you already understand economics better than 90% of people. Send this video to someone you want to protect. Knowledge is the best inheritance. Comment below, what phase of the cycle do you think we're in now? Did you live through 2008? Tell your story. The machine doesn't stop, but now you know how it works, and that changes the game. See you next time.